with my company that I started in '05, which is Solcoa, and we do this. This is all we do. Solcoa, it stands for I had to come up with my own word to get 4 to 6 letters, even in 2005, .com that wasn't already taken, you know.
That's so
But
great.
it means soul is a contraction of Latin word solus, which means alone or isolated.
Mm-hmm.
And then koa is the Hawaiian Polynesian word. So I served there for a while, for warrior. So it's the lone warrior, it's the isolated, you know, soldier, sailor, airman, marine.
Got it.
And it's really what, and we are the only Solcoa out there, so that's good. But it was, you know, I planted my flag saying, this is what I want to do. And in the end, though, figuratively, what we've realized over the years, because, you know, we've done we've been as contractors, you know, whether in subcontractor role, the prime vendor role, to contracting to the SERE schools and providing, you know, usually veteran, well, they're all generally veterans and or retiree military. They've got a lot of experience. You know, we go back to they're my age. You go back to the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know,
that's a different game.
Oh, right. I mean, it's not like contingent warfare or the things, and it's certainly not going to have, if we ever have, and I hope, pray that we don't ever have another major theater war, is that the kind of response that we had in some of the conflicts in CENTCOM, which is the Afghanistan, Iraq, where we had quick reaction forces that could roll in pretty quick, much like we have at home, 911, and it has a certain amount of time, but pretty darn quick in some footprints, notwithstanding weather or other things. But is that's not going to be the paradigm in something that a near peer adversary. So it goes back to the old days of, you're going to have to be on your own much longer. Not that you have to do it on your own. No, you could set the conditions for success.
But that's what you were just talking about there, and the ability to be able to work with other people. There's some currency in that. Yeah. And negotiation and reading people, understanding the room, having a high level of awareness of your actual situation. Right.
That and the and you taking the initiative to set, like I said, set the condition. If you don't feel like, if I said, hey, we're going to go for a day hike, you know, we're back up in the front range of Colorado, we're going to just go for a day hike up here around, you know, Foothills, Pikes Peak or whatever, and that's all I said, then, you know, you kind of, you know, make sure you got your hiking shoes on or whatever, but, you know, it's okay, maybe a bottle of water. But now if I said, you know, to anybody just saying, hey, we're going to go for a day hike, but you might want to, you know, we should have some stuff, just, you know, might want to expect it may happen that we have to spend the night. It's like, well, what? I thought it was a day hike, you know, you know, he just changed it on me. You know, it's like, well, I mean, that's always there, right? I mean, people get
all the time
misoriented. It's over.
The taxpayer pays hundreds, you know, millions and millions of dollars a year for people that thought they were just going out on a day hike. Yeah.
It was almost 3/4,
or for a boat ride.
70 or 75%, I think, that of people who spend an unexpected overnight, just here in the U.S., just in the backcountry, is from getting misoriented. It's not equipment failure. It's not other, you know, it's not being mauled by, you know, by flora, fauna, whatever. It's literally they get just turned around, right? Yeah. You know, or the battery, you know, or they're using, you know, certainly all the tools that we have, which are great, until the battery dies. You drop it and it breaks. You drop it in the water, whatever, and then you're left to your own devices. Now, back to, if you had those base skills, you know,
is that a big deal? Yeah,
I mean, it really isn't. You could get yourself reoriented, sit and do some mental mapping, some other techniques. You could just get you right, you know. But you know, I think Daniel Boone has a quote, you know, at least attributed to him, to saying, you know, I've never been lost, but you know, I have been, you know, it's like misoriented for a few days,
for a little bit, for a period of time, going back to the time and distance.
You know, but and the thing is, he's not admitting, you know, failure.
Right.
He's just, you know, okay. And I mean, obviously, thinking that time frame, you know, you only had celestial cues and maybe just a little bit on the as far as analog compass style,
right?
But
direction finding, that.
Right. But it is a mindset again to say, are you going to take? And well, what should I take? And goes back to training. Well, what's enough? What's enough for you for this environment to be able to maintain 98.6? And because we've had it where people just one night, And we have, and God help you if it rains. I mean, because you add rain, and you're going to suck 25 times, the heat from your body that much faster than just being dry. So if you can't keep, from staying or getting wet, or getting at least dry again if you get wet, and having a temperature drop, which in high mountain desert kind of things, you can have 30, 40 degree differences between, and you start adding altitude, it drops even faster. People get caught just, because they're down, let's say, in a lower area where it's warm, and then they go hike up, and then again, all these things happen all at once, and it just overwhelms them. Literally within hours, they expire. They get misoriented, and they literally curl up and pass. And this is happening here in a developed nation
all the time
now. Yeah. And so if that's the case, I mean, but these skill sets, and just mindsets go beyond that. Again, I don't ever hike. I'm not going to go up the mountain. I don't go except in my little park that's 15 acres. Right. I'm not going to get that lost. Okay, well, but then these things, like I said, taking the initiative to set up yourself for success, and that's both what you can do, what you bring to the table, whatever else you need, but also working with other people. Who do you need to work with? And don't assume that, well, that's their job, they should know to do that or what. No, you don't know any of that. And so, and I think and whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in business of any kind, or you're just doing what you're doing, if you're just volunteering, if you want to succeed, you're going to have to bring all this stuff to bear. And there are frameworks for this kind of stuff that you can go through, but that's a big part of what we've done of bringing best practices from the military thing and turning it into a human thing, which it is. Yep. And saying, how can this help you through life to get to a level of fulfillment? That doesn't mean you started a business. It doesn't mean whatever fulfillment is for you, because the fortitude, all that we're talking about gives you freedom.